I have her to announce our speaker. He is going to talk to us today about mindfulness and just being aware of yourself and working with stress relief. He has an organization called the Mind-Body Awareness Project that works with kids in juvenile hall, dealing with awareness and stress relief. So please give a nice Athenian round of applause to John Oda.
Thanks, Steve. So, I guess I want to start with who am I? How did I get involved in this kind of work? I got involved in the practice of mindfulness when I was around 19 years old, and it was actually through crisis. I was raised as the oldest son. My dad was Japanese. He was first generation born in America. Grew up in Hawaii. And even before I could talk, he started drilling me saying, "There are only 3 things I want from you. Graduate from Princeton, Phi Beta Kappa, All-American." So these are some of the 3 words that I learned to say back to him when he was like, "What do I want from you, son?" And I kind of make light of it, but it was a lot of pressure. And so by the time I was 19, I had 2 out of 3. I was an All-American athlete, and I wasn't at Princeton, I was at Yale. But I had to leave because I was like, whose life is this? And how do I put the brakes on? Because I feel like if I keep moving like this, I'm gonna just self-destruct in a massive flames or something. It was pretty crazy. And it was a tough time for me too, because at the same time I felt like, look, if I leave school and all this, then I'm gonna be left behind. I felt a lot of pressure to succeed and a lot of pressure to compare myself to other people. And so that brings me to you folks. I think about when I look at all your faces, and I think about what it means to be like a teenager in this day and age. It's like we live in extraordinary times. We live in a whole new world that I didn't even see when I was a teenager, when I was in high school, that no one's ever really seen before. So I just heard this announcement, a big sound of applause and cheers when people said that it's the last day of this whole semester. How many people have been stressed out this week? Raise your hand. All right. Look around. That's pretty much everyone. How many people are still stressed out right now? Yeah, that's right. It's not over till it's over, right? So how many people are stressing about? Okay, how many people are stressing about school? Raise your hand. Okay. How many people are stressing about loved ones or family, friends? Raise your hand. Okay. How many people are stressing about something else that I didn't mention? All right. Anyone care to just shout something out? What else are you stressed about?
Future.
It's a big one. Anyone else?
Unexcused absences.
Research paper, okay. Couple more, maybe? Climate change. What else? Sports, okay. Like your latest bet or how your team's gonna do. So I just want to talk about, so dealing with stress, right? That was my motivation to start looking at what's going on inside of here, because I'm trying to do things out here, but I don't feel like I have the resources inside here because everything's like a blur, all these judgments closing in. It can feel crazy inside when we're stressed, and we got to bring everything we can to deal with stuff that's going on in our lives. So So when I talk about mindfulness practice, this isn't something religious. It's not something like super esoteric or something that like it's hard to put a finger on. We're talking about something really simple, and I think I could break it down into two parts. One is like the awareness piece. So it's like your ability to focus, your ability to just pick up on what's going on. Like everybody who raised their hand about being stressed knows that you're stressed. So that's the awareness piece, right? And then the second piece is more about how to actually chill, how to actually get to a place where we can relax as much as we can, whatever tension that we feel. So we can play this game. I brought these bells in. This is the focus part, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring this a bunch of times. There'll be like some little pauses in between, and your job, if you want to play this game, is just to see if you come up with the same number of rings as I ring this. All right. It helps if your eyes are closed, but if they're not, just you can keep them blurry and raise your hand. We got 16. We got 17. We got 18. Okay, I think I rang it 17 times. I was just trying.
Good for you.
All right, so how many people noticed that like focusing on the sound of the bell made your thoughts go into the background, or you just didn't notice thinking while you were listening? Okay. So that is one way that focus could work, right? Like when you're focusing in a certain direction, especially, I mean, how many people felt like the sound was relaxing? It did, not everyone thinks that way. Anyone feel that the sound was irritating or it was hard to listen to? Okay. Yeah, like we don't all live in the same world, right? Especially between ears, so. But another question is like, how many people lost count because of their thoughts? Like I left a little pause, like that's usually when thoughts start bleeding in again. Okay. All right, so that's normal, right? Our mind is like usually really racing really fast, especially if we're stressed, then thoughts come racing in really quickly. So it's just something to notice about how our mind works. So that's the awareness part of mindfulness, but the chill part is the other piece I mentioned, and stress doesn't just live in our thoughts, right? It also actually manifests in our physical body. So I'm going to ask for hands again. How many people feel that the stress that they could feel it in their jaw, or they could feel it because they get headaches? Raise your hand. Okay. How many people feel like there's stress in their neck or their shoulders? Raise your hand. All right. How many people feel like stress in their stomach? Like their stomach gets really tight because they get stressed? That's me. Who feels stressed in their back? Okay. Who feels stressed? Who raised their hand every single time? You people are worried about that. So once we're aware that our body is tense, right? Then we can do something about it. If that's the intense thing about what you folks are up against, is that a lot of us deal with such a regular experience of stress that you don't even notice it anymore. Like your body is so tense so often that you just get used to that. How many people feel like that describes you? Like you know that about yourself, like that tension is like almost always there. Okay. All right, thank you. So like I said, the second part is once we notice where the stress is, we can actually actively try to relax it. Like it may not go away right away, but we have that information and we can give it a shot. That thoughts or distractions pulled you away, but then at some point you're like, oh wait, I was just doing this exercise, and came back to your breath. Okay, that's what this thing is about, because the mind is always doing that. It's like throwing a fishing line out and then it comes back. Especially if we're aware, that's the part that brings you back. That's like your awareness kicking